up, y'all? So I don't usually post on here, but there has been a topic weighing on me lately that I want to discuss. And this isn't like, I'm not a Jesus freak. I'm not here to push my religion down your throat or force you to do anything. I can't do that. Who am I? But I'm just someone making an observation and stating facts, you know? I hope we're aware of what's happening around the world, you know, not only in the US, but overseas. It's a lot of chaos right now and destruction. But I've realized the world, the more we push God out, the more destruction and chaos happens and confusion. Our God, Jesus Christ, he's not a God of confusion, and he's the Prince of Peace. So the more we push him out, what do you think is going to happen? You know, and this has been happening for decades now. You know, we're getting further and further away from God. Oh, we don't need God. We can be good people. We can have order on our own. We don't need a God to tell us what to do. Really? Now, mind you, I'm only 27 years old, but I've been around long enough to see that the world didn't used to be like this. It's only getting worse the further and further we get away from God. Look at the school systems. Oh yeah, they kicked God clean out of there. No more prayer. And look at how the school shootings erupted. Kids don't know whether they're boys or girls now, or dinosaurs or giraffes. Teachers are just pushing that agenda. But the school system is failing. Every year it's declining. The literacy rate is declining. Kids can't read, spell, or write anymore. But I bet you money they know what a drag queen is. I bet you money they know what a transgender is. And they have resources for when they want to like talk about, you know, changing their sex or something like that. But these kids can't even freaking spell. We got away from God. And it's failing. Teachers are quitting left and right. Kids are disobedient to their parents, authorities, education, teachers. And a part of that problem is also people, you know, pushing God out of their hearts, you know, ignoring him, denying him. In the Bible, it says, train your child up in the way they should go. That means train your child up in God. And if you're not doing that, that'll probably explain why, you know, some of these kids are out of control. They're not being trained up in the way they should go. And they're disrespectful. They're selfish. Look at America, the #1 producer of corn, you know. You know God don't like that. America has pushed God so far away. Look at our music. Look at Hollywood. Demonic. I don't care what anyone says. Those are demonic rituals that these people are performing. They're doing it right in our faces. And we support it. Oh, it's entertainment. That's their way of expressing their art. God said, okay, bet. Y'all want to keep playing in my face? He took his hand off. We are under judgment right now. That's why there's so much chaos right now. Because we continue to push God out. Chaos erupts. Destruction. All these wars going on. Imagine if these world leaders had the true Jesus, the God of the Bible, in their hearts. You think all this stuff would be going on? Absolutely not. Because Jesus is the Prince of Peace. This would not be happening. But we don't need God. We don't need a God to show us how to be good people. And, you know, we just, okay. Well, like I said, the world has been in a downward spiral for, I know, all of my lifetime. Who's going to fix it? If not Jesus? Because that man been spot on. He ain't missed a beat. His word has withstood the test of time. So I'm genuinely asking, who's going to fix it? Because all the destruction, everything that's happening right now, there's no God in that. Those people don't have the true Jesus in their heart. They're not following his word. And so I'm just wondering, when are people going to wake up? This isn't a game anymore. Back in the day, that was cute. The little arguments, you know, God isn't real and we come from evolution and we come from monkeys. That was cute. I'm not even entertaining them conversations no more. When I look at the news every day and look at the world and then look at that Bible, And so the direct correlation, how did this man 2,000 years ago know what will be happening right now? To the T. If you asked me to predict something that's going to happen next week, I would have nothing for you. I can't even predict something that's going to happen next week. But this man and other men foretold the events that will be happening right now, and they're happening. If you are not awoke to what is happening right now, if you ain't reading the writing on the wall, if it's not making sense, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. And it blows my mind because when I used to read, Revelation or just like the end time prophecies back then, years ago, in Matthew, Jesus said that when all these signs are happening, when he's given us all these signs of his return, he said people will still not believe. He said people will still ignore it. And I remember reading that and, almost challenging God a little bit. I was like, God, first of all, I didn't think none of that would happen in my lifetime. I'm still a little struck behind that. But secondly, I was like, God, I don't know. Like, if there was earthquakes and natural disasters, tornadoes, wars, the Euphrates River drying up, all these things happening at once, I don't know, God. Like, I think people would catch on. I don't think people would ignore that. Oh my gosh. I'm baffled. Like I said, he foretold it in Matthew to the T. He said, I will have all the signs. I will have it laid out. And people will still ignore it. I'm just mind blown, honestly. That's my rant. I just want to tell you guys to wake up, repent, believe in Jesus Christ.
All right. Good morning. This is going to be a short day because I have people coming today. Miss Minder Sue and her husband are coming down for a visit. They'll get here in a couple of hours. And I've got other things to prep for today. And I'm expecting somebody to get here to pick up my fuel cans in the next few minutes. So at the same time. So got a lot on my plate today. So I'm going to try and go through as much stuff with you guys as I can in order to get our Sunday started. And let's go ahead and do that. Let's get right into it. Good morning. Hello. If anybody's asked questions or anything, I just now turned on the chat. So I'm like so far behind today. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and start off with this. Robbie Starbucks. Facts. The vast majority of mentally ill people vote Democrat. 64% of white liberals have been diagnosed with mental illness. That's not a number I made up. It's self-reported via nonpartisan Pew Research survey. I think this explains a lot of things we're living through. And here's the article. This was posted in the Washington Times. And it says, white liberals are more prone to mental health disorders than individuals who identify as conservative or moderates, according to a Pew Research survey. 62% of whites who classify themselves as very liberal have been told by a doctor they have a mental health condition, as compared to 26% of conservatives and 20% of moderates, the study found. Young white people who are identified as very liberal are often Young white people who identified as very liberal are almost 1.5 times more likely to report mental health problems than those who considered themselves a liberal. Yeah, isn't that something, right? Yeah. All right, here's a little piece of George Webb for you. If Tony's guys did it, why aren't they looking at Tony's guys?
Hey, hello everyone, George Webb, back at the white van. Great lead if we follow up on it. The license plates, why haven't they published the license plates of the Arizona van, the Roger Urich van? Same thing with the bike. Why don't we know the name of the duffel bag on the bike? Same thing as the ladder. Why don't we have the Home Depot ladder picture of them buying the ladder on the 8th, 5 days before? Remember, Tuesday, they said that the roof wouldn't be covered. We had the Beaver County people saying the roof is not covered. Well, if you know the roof isn't covered on Tuesday, what did you forget on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday? It feels like a Solomon Grundy kids rhyme. Anyway, notice the cameras that you're seeing. Notice the body cameras you're seeing from the Wall Street Journal and CNN. They're from Butler County. Butler County. Remember what we said, who is the other sheriff there that has the responsibility for the roof? Who has responsibility? Not Butler County. It's Beaver County. Beaver County. Beaver County has responsibility for the roof. So we're seeing all these videos of basically people running 130 yards, going through two sets of fences, having to knock over fences with police cars, throwing ladders over fences, threading ladders underneath fences. This is a huge delay, right? And we're all focused on the roof, always focused on the roof. What cameras are we not seeing? The ones of Beaver County. None of the body cameras of Beaver County are we seeing. Whose guys are those? Whose guys are those? Those are Tony Guy's guys. Sheriff Tony Guy's guys. Who's Sheriff Tony Guy again? He's the guy who does continuity of government with Dick Cheney and Director Cheadle from the Secret Service at 9/11. Doesn't that give anybody any pause? He's been a JTTF guy for 25 years, right? That should be your cue of where the false flag is coming from. Tony Guy's guys, right? Tony Guy's guys are looking for all kinds of excuses. They're making videos with ABC. They're making all these other body cameras that they're blaming the Secret Service for the roof. That's not the Secret Service's roof. We saw the wedge. We saw the Pac-Man. We saw the slice of the pie out of the oval. The oval covered. That's Beaver County's responsibility. Where are the Beaver County body cams, right, during the shooting, so we can hear the shots, right? We have the blood. We have the blood with Urich's blood. That seems like a pretty good lead. A blood sample seems like a pretty good lead. We have the Urich IP addresses. Remember 7, 8, or 9 pings at FBI headquarters, or at least at an FBI building near Washington, D.C. We have a lot of leads. And why aren't we seeing any good quality cameras from the American Glass Research, which is a DoD contractor and has been for bulletproof glass for the last 80 years, right? DoD contractor, lots of cameras. Why aren't we seeing any complete? Everything is always minced. Everything is always distant. Everything always murky, always cloudy, always fuzzy. Why don't we get some body cameras from Beaver County? That's why I say, in order to get to the bottom of this, we have to subpoena Tony Guy's guys. Now, we had said Tony Guy's guys, 10 of those Tony Guy's guys. Remember, he's a sheriff and he can deputize his guys. You could be practicing out at Clairton, doing a rally shooter exercise, a DHS rally shooter exercise, which is exactly what happened, right? Exactly what happened at Donald Trump's rally, right? And you can pull people from different townships on your JTTF, your guys. You can pick your guys and deputize your guys to do the Clairton rallies. Now, remember, we said that was the DHS place. That was where DHS did all their rallies. That's where the rally shooter exercise was done. That's where also Chertoff and Mayorkas from DHS all the way back to the year 2000 wrote the rally exercise, right? Those are the guys to focus on. If those 10 people, remember the 10 people Jill Biden has, 10 people that Jill Biden has from her motorcade that then go and get mixed into Donald Trump's motorcade, that should be an indication to you that that's where those Tony guys are coming from. They're getting mixed in. We also had the Butler Township say that Tony guys, right, had the volunteer spotters. And that should also clue you in that that's crooks, right? So we have to focus in on the people that actually did it rather than the people making alibi videos for the people who did it. We have to start looking at the body cams of the people who didn't do it and start looking at the body cams of the people who did do it, right? And start seeing, what are they doing? Where are they? During this long run across this field, that's way more than enough time for somebody to make a getaway and get to the white van. Take a bike. Guess what? A bike fits in this white van, right? There's bikes go in vans, right? That's why you have vans. Somebody gets away on the bike, right? Gets to the van. That's your getaway. Why aren't we following up on those leads? All of these things point back to Tony. Guys.
All of this points back to Tony's guys. Yeah. All right. Script Keeper Lex says, who am I? I am Lynn Wood. Shut up. A mere vessel in earth to do God's will for my life. Do I proclaim the coming of Jesus Christ? Do I proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ despite the persecutions I suffer in earth for doing so? Despite all the false attacks against me in earth, you decide who I am. Don't be misled by the false propaganda against me. I am just a retired trial lawyer who now seeks to make a living as an innkeeper and as a planter of rice. I am who I am. I am the man God created me to be. It is never about me. It is always about God, Jesus Christ. And this photo of Allie and me was taken a few years ago. Truth does not change. What was truth then is still true today. It's all good to be back home today with Allie and the puppies. All right. In the fake news story done by failing New York Times on Willie Brown and his little helicopter ride with me many years ago, there were logs, maintenance records, and witnesses. There was also a story on Willie and me. Why can't the radical left failing New York Times write accurately and fairly or on me? Sorry. See following truth. I only have one major goal in life, and that is to make America great again. Wouldn't that be a good thing for the New York Times? Think of it. They could be great again. Yeah, they could be. It is difficult to prove that someone intended to commit a crime. It is better to wait and let them commit the crime before you execute the punishment. Then you can also execute the punishment on all who participate in the crime and its cover-up. Just saying. That makes some perfectly good sense. All right. Okay, so I'm going to pull up this image, and I want everybody to look at something. And this is actually very telling and very important. I'm going to make this bigger. So, what don't you see? What don't you see? What don't you see? Where are the thousands and thousands and thousands of people? On the reflection. On the reflection. On the reflection. And on the reflection of the shiny surface of the plane. Now it shows that there's one. It shows the Secret Service guy right here, right here, right here. It shows a couple of people back here. But where are all of these people in that photograph? Yeah. Yep. All right. Elon Musk says, what is going on in the UK? And I wish I had like an Australia or a South African accent that I could throw in there and say, because he's got that. And it says, I am yes, you are no, posted an illegal an immigrant who raped a 13-year-old girl in the UK was allowed to walk free because he didn't know rape was illegal. But posting your opinion on social media leads to years in prison. Make it make sense. So his name is Adil Rashid. Rashid did not know it was illegal to have sex with a 13-year-old girl. Yeah. Adil Rashid. That's his name. Yeah. And that's his face. Moving on. In 1982, Trump hired a poor Hispanic young man set to be homeless on Christmas.
Mr. Trump just didn't give me a job that Christmas Day. What I realized today is that he gave me a tool to help rediscover my purpose, to be an inspiration to my children. Before I could rise in boxing, someone gave me a chance like nobody else would. I grew up in Spanish Harlem, very poor. The dresser was my crib. I was a victim of abuse in my own hometown in the streets. At the age of 22, I was on the brink of being homeless. I remember one night on Christmas Eve, I walked into the St. Patrick's Cathedral and I said, God, please give me a purpose. As I exited, I walked down Fifth Avenue and it was this gorgeous building. I walked inside and I said, I'm looking for work. The next day, Trump hired me off the street. He gave me 5 navy blue suits. He shook my hand and he said, welcome to the family. I remember the night I was assigned to drive Mr. Trump to a meeting. I dropped him off, and as he's getting out of the car, he said to me, can I bring you a steak? Because I'm going to be in there for quite a while. Who am I for him to stop his meeting and bring me something to eat? You know, I hear these accusations, but let me tell you firsthand. He employed people from all origins. We were all treated like family. And I remember that. And I admired him for that. He put us all first. He once gave me a personal letter expressing just how proud he was of me. These words, they have been a constant reminder of how much I have been appreciated.
And this is the thing is, these are all people before Trump even became president. He was just a businessman in New York, a guy who wanted to see change in his community. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with people seeking change in their community. The betterment of your fellow man is the betterment of your whole community, right? And that's the way that Trump's always played it, you know. And I'm not saying it as in him playing a game. It's he played life, the game, in real life. And it was always the betterment of his fellow man. Not just building himself up, but building up everybody around him. You know, he helped to make New York a great city. There's absolutely no doubt about that. He helped to make the New York skyline one of the most beautiful skylines for a city. Okay. For a city, a beautiful skyline. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that you know, that there are not still problems in the deep depths at the base of those buildings. Okay, because there always are, no matter what city you're in, no matter what country you're in. Okay, you still got darkness lingering in the alleys, in the dark corners, in the recesses. Okay, and oftentimes in people's minds. You know, that's where darkness grows, right? You know, so yeah. All right. Paul A. Zipula. I have no idea how to say his last name whatsoever. It'd be nice if he broke it down into like syllables so that you can figure out exactly how to say it. But Tulsi Gabbard, the day after I publicly warned the American people about how dangerous Kamala Harris presidents can be, look at what happens. Here we go.
So what exactly did Tulsi Gabbard do to get added to the terror watch list? It came the day after she criticized the Biden administration right here on The Angle.
Our foreign policy decisions are being made by unelected people in the military-industrial complex who are profiting from us being in a constant state of war, and the national security state that has more power to undermine our freedoms and liberties when we are in a state of war. Kamala Harris does not have the strength to stand up to the military-industrial complex.
Okay, that's wild. Joining me now, Tulsi Gabbard, former U.S. Congresswoman.
I got to pause this for a second. Okay, I just saw this comment. I wish I had caught it earlier, but I didn't. Okay, fellow man, but we were all divided. We are all divided and conquered peasants. Not anymore. The more we wake up, and the more we wake up our neighbors in our communities, and then our states or counties, and then our countries, the more united mankind, our fellow man, begins. Okay, let's look at it like this. We know that there is a spiritual conflict going on at the same time that we see this the kinetic, okay, going on. Fiascos going on in every country. Okay, we see it in the UK, we see it in Ireland, we see it in all over Europe. We see it happening in Africa. We see it happening in South America. We see it even here in the United States. We see it in Canada. Okay, so the recesses of a person's mind, okay, is where darkness dwindles most. Okay, because we're discouraged, because we are taught that we can't change the system because we're not big enough. What I'm going to say is bullshit. We are watching the Great Awakening happen right before our eyes and seeing day after day after day after day people changing the way that they were thinking, beginning to do their own research, to be able to dispel so many of these things, the control mechanisms that have been laid upon us, and we are going to, in the long run, watch the governments around the world topple, is what we're going to see. They are going to topple. There's no doubt about it. Okay. The idea of it is how do you keep the core of each individual country together? By joining the awakening, by sharing information, by taking a minute and having a conversation with somebody. And now it doesn't mean you have to belittle somebody. Okay. All you have to do is just inject a little bit of truth that makes them want to turn around and do a little bit of research for themselves. And then their awakening process begins. Now, some people say it's too late for some people, that some people are just never going to awaken. Well, you're right. There are some people who are never going to awaken. We were told that 4 to 6% will be lost. And it's not just here in the United States, it's worldwide. 4 to 6% are never going to wake up. They're going to stay in that mode, but they're going to be left behind. Okay. Now, one thing that I was taught in the Marine Corps is we never leave a man behind, ever. You never, ever leave a fellow Marine behind. Okay. So if I take that same mentality and use it for the people who tune into my podcasts and or are part of my life in some way, and I don't allow anybody to be left behind, the reason that they're not behind is because I left a trail for them to follow. Okay. Who was it that went into the cave and they dropped They dropped crumbs and so that they could find their way back out, right? It's that same thing. It's leaving a trail for people to be able to follow. And the idea of it is that this podcast, today's podcast, might be listened to somebody in a month from now, okay, who's playing catch up and says, okay, well, I heard this guy's got some good information and has some good points and everything. So I'm going to tune in and I'm going to watch this. And then what's going to happen is he's going to watch the next one. Then they're going to watch the next one. And then they're going to watch the next one. And they're going to get more and more information. And as more of this information comes out to them, they are going to realize the mentality that they had been stuck in. Okay. The biggest thing about being a peasant is the fact that your brain has to believe that you are, in fact, a slave. The slave mentality. Your brain has to recognize that you are in a prison, but we have to choose as to whether or not we wish to stay in that prison. Because I think that freedom is going to be so much better. And this is the thing. There is nobody on this earth today, nobody alive today that knows what true freedom is. Except for those people with all that money that can just do whatever the hell they want and get away with it. Okay. But the thing is they're going to lose that freedom. You know, we're actually going to see that. We're going to see the takedown of each of these people and their organizations, thus thrusting us into the point of where Moses was with the Israelites after crossing the sea, okay, and having the Egyptian army destroyed behind their backs, okay. What ended up happening? Well, you know, our Creator had a plan set up for them, okay. He had a plan set up for them. The thing was that so many of those people didn't want to follow that plan. They didn't want to believe that it was a Creator who caused their separation from the Egyptians. Okay. They wanted to believe that Moses did it and that he was just a great magician who made it happen. So what did they do? They turned back to their old practices. They started praising Egyptian gods and goddesses again. Okay. So, and then God showed them the entry to the new land, to the promised land, showed them the entry to it, sent a couple of guys, you know, Moses sent a couple of guys in there, and two of them came back and said, oh, no, we can't, there's no way that we can defeat these people. There's no way that we can stand against they have such giants and everything else. Right. But Joshua and one of his sons were also sent into the promised land to look. And Joshua was like, let's go. Let's go. That God's got us. Well, because all those people that doubted, because of the first two guys that came back that doubted that Joshua was correct, that Joshua was beyond following, because of the fact that, you know, these people described, you know, great cities with great walls and giants and everything else. God made them wander in the desert for 40 years. Why? Because they had to be taught how not to be slaves to anybody again. And it took them 40 years to do that. The difference is that today we have the ability to change that mentality to sweet. It means that it can happen almost instantly. But the thing is there's going to be a lot of people who are not going to know what to do with that freedom. They're not going to understand what that freedom really means. We'll have to wait and see. But I pray, and I pray a lot, okay? I pray that this happens for every country worldwide. That it happens, across the pond, in all the other lands, in all the individual countries. I pray that when the opportunity comes, that people don't seek slavery for comfort, because it's what we have known. It's time to step out into the great unknown. Now, again, I apologize for going on a rant. Let's get back to this. I'll start it over. Here we go.
So what exactly did Tulsi Gabbard do to get added to the terror watch list? It came the day after she criticized the Biden administration right here on The Angle.
Our foreign policy decisions are being made by unelected people in the military-industrial complex who are profiting from us being in a constant state of war, and the national security state that has more power to undermine our freedoms and liberties when we are in a state of war. Kamala Harris does not have the strength to stand up to the military-industrial complex.
Okay, that's wild. Joining me now, Tulsi Gabbard, former U.S. Congresswoman, Fox News contributor. Tulsi, now, you serve this country in uniform, even getting deployed to Iraq. Thank you for going, unlike Tim Walz. And now you're being surveilled. I mean, it's a form of surveillance, or hassling and intrusion upon your freedom to move by the government. What is this? I mean, I didn't believe it really when I first heard about it. I said, oh, that can't be. But how does this make you feel?
Laura, this is a clear act of political retaliation. There's no other way to put it. You laid out the sequence of events the very next day after my conversation with you on the air, warning the American people about how dangerous a Kamala Harris presidency would be. I was placed on this domestic terror watch list, which is called the Quiet Skies list under the Department of Homeland Security. The clear pain and real visceral hurt that comes from this is, as you mentioned, like many Americans, I enlisted because of the terrorist attacks on 9/11, to go after the Islamist terrorists who attacked us on that day, and to now have my own government now turn around and put me on a domestic terror watch list. It hits to the core and is the ultimate sense of betrayal. But we look at why they are doing this. It has a chilling effect. It sends a warning both to me and to anyone else who even thinks about daring to criticize our own government, which is a guaranteed protected right under the First Amendment.
Yeah.
That we will be subject to a violation of our Fourth Amendment right to privacy through this kind of surveillance. And that's the biggest stress that's been caused by this entire situation, Laura, is now forever. I will always be looking over my shoulder, wondering if and how our government in any of these different agencies is surveilling me, watching me. Are they reading my text messages? Are they listening to my phone calls?
Yeah, I was going to say yes, yes, and yes. That's what I would guess, at least. Now, in a letter from whistleblower attorney Tristan Levitt, he writes that the special mission coverage in Ms. Gabbard's case reportedly involves 2 explosive detection canine teams, 1 transportation security analyst in explosives, 1 plainclothes TSA supervisor, and 3 federal air marshals on every flight Ms. Gabbard boards. I mean, I'm not laughing, Tulsi, because this is literally like the Soviet Union, China today, North Korea, any totalitarian regime. But Donald Trump's the totalitarian, right? He's the dictator in waiting. Okay.
Yeah, this is just, and this is what we know about, and we know about it because of these brave whistleblowers from the Air Marshal Service who are coming forward. What I'm questioning is, what are the things that are happening in our government that I don't know about? How long have they been surveilling me? This is just a recent occurrence. I would not be surprised to know that there are other government agencies who are also being weaponized against political opponents, those who dare to challenge this regime, the Biden-Harris administration. And that's really what it comes down to, and why they have to be stopped.
They have to be
guaranteed
defunded.
The right to life,
be
liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I cannot be free. And you pointed to this. Yes, exactly. I cannot be free so long as my government is breathing down my neck and watching my every move.
Well, we got to go, but we're going to be following this closely, demanding that this be completely withdrawn, and whoever is responsible for this decision, and there's one person who made the decision, should be fired immediately. But this should never, ever happen in the United States of America.
To anyone.
Tulsi, no, to anybody.
Thank
but
you.
I think this is the tip of the iceberg, and I know Donald Trump is not surprised by any of this. Tulsi, thank you very much.
All right. The gas people just showed up, so let me get to the next one so I can run out there and do this real quick. Here we go.
This billboard was just put up here in Miami, Florida, and it reads in Spanish, "No to dictators, no to Trump." Okay, let's factually compare Fidel Castro's policies to that of both major American political parties. Fidel Castro taxed the rich and corporations with the goal of redistributing wealth and resources to benefit the poor and the working class. Which political party is always chanting tax the rich? Fidel Castro disarmed and took away the Cuban people's firearms. Which political party in the US is constantly advocating for gun control, common sense gun laws, and taking away people's firearms? Fidel Castro ran on and socialized healthcare and education in Cuba. Which political party in the US advocates for universal healthcare, UBI, and free education? Lastly, Fidel Castro imprisoned his political opponents. He made up fake charges, would find creative ways to imprison anyone who disagreed with him and his ideology. Which political party today here in the US is attempting to imprison their political opponent? The power of Fidel Castro and the modern American left is to keep people chasing this carrot of a socialist utopia that will never become true. These people have a lot of money, they have a lot of resources to keep repeating the lie over and over and over and over and over again until people start believing it.
Okay. Sorry, guys. All right, I'm back. No, I'm not muted. I had to step away to load the gas cans. So, yeah. So that's why it was so quiet, because the dogs were all out of the car, surrounded the car.
This
Poor girl
billboard
couldn't
was
even
just put up here.
poor girl couldn't even get out of her car because the dogs were like, "Come on, we want to play." And yeah. Okay. All right. Colin Rugg says new left-wing influencer William Legate accidentally roasts Kamala's crowd size after he thought it was Trump's rally. Remember, it is now deleted post. Legate trashed Trump for ordering his team to cover up thousands of empty seats. One problem: the rally was Kamala Harris' rally in Arizona. Trump has ordered his team to literally cover up entire levels of venues. He said he's unable to fill with black cloths to make it appear as if there aren't thousands of empty seats. Only problem is that he showed that it was the Kamala Harris event, and he didn't realize that he outed himself at the same time that he was spreading that misinformation. Right? Okay.
All right, guys, let me explain what's happening. You guys are fighting over the immigrants, okay? Now, remember this. The immigrants have been allowed through the door and they've been housed in hotels. And if you were listening a little while ago, there was a woman that did a video where she was offered a fat chunk of money to put these immigrants in her house, her property. Then a delivery came, a container, and she dared to open that container and saw that that container had guns in it. And the question was, back then, I thought, Are these people supporting the British Army? Are they going to be working with them? No, I think this, and this could get taken down. They allowed people to come into this country. There are well above capacity for this country to handle the amount of people. We all know that because we're feeling it, right? Something like 68 million when there should be 32. They bring them over, they let them in, they put them in the hotels, and they give them guns. Then they create a civil war. And who's got the guns? The immigrants. And what happens? A civil war at a level that people haven't seen. If you're shocked by what's occurring right now, prepare yourself with what's to come. Because if what I think is going to happen, and if these immigrants are pissed off by what you guys have done, or what you guys have been programmed dumbly to sheepy follow and do, think about it. The government let them in. They house them. They give them everything for free. You're going to get pissed by that. There's no doubt about it. I get pissed about it. Why am I working? Why am I paying taxes? Why am I having to pay for everything? And they're getting everything for free. Who's not going to get pissed about that? The government let them in. They house them for free. The locals get pissed. They get angry and riot. They abuse Muslims, because these are what the immigrants are largely, aren't they? They're Muslims from the countries that the West have gone in and screwed over. They piss off the immigrants rise. Who's going to give the guns to the immigrants? It's not even going to give. They've given them. There is an army of people within. And those people, when they come up, you and your wheelie bins and your pallets and your distant level of attack is nothing compared to what they can deliver, because they've faced it themselves in their own countries at the hands of people. No offense, like you. What a fucking mess.
You know, a good portion of what she said there actually rings true, because of the influence that the Central Intelligence Agency has had in all of these countries, and causing the overthrow of governments and so on and so forth. It's just, you know, you kind of can't blame them people for being mad. We've stuck our nose into places that have absolutely no business being there. Now, this is the thing. Although we, the people, were not involved in this, we also didn't do anything to stop it, you know. And that's primarily because of the slave mentality, that we believe that there's nothing that we could do about it anyways. But we're learning that our voices do matter, and that standing on Christ our rock, we can achieve anything, and it's going to happen. All right. If you do not stop, impact rounds will be fired.
The police message. The crowd should disperse immediately, as force is about to be used against violent individuals. If you do not stop, impact rounds will be fired. This is a police message. We are causing an unlawful obstruction of the roads and ground air. I require you to move so that you are no longer causing an obstruction. Please move now.
Yeah. So warnings are going out against people, you know. All right. You don't get to twist narratives and make up your own narrative. People wouldn't even know what the Flynn Network is if it wasn't for Lynn Wood. Here we go.
He is the sovereign creator over everything. He controls everything. He has a plan for mankind. He does his will through his children. I believe that Donald Trump believes in Jesus Christ. I think he found Jesus about the same time I did. I believe he's doing God's will for this country. When I saw him at the White House on March the 11th of 2020, when he asked me to come meet with him, He said, I got a couple things I want you to do for me. Will you do them? I remember exactly what I said to him. I said, Mr. President, I believe you are doing God's will for this country. I love America. I'll do whatever you want me to do. And I've stood by him ever since, and I'm not going to waver off of him. I'm not afraid of anybody. I don't wed myself to anybody. I believe that the ruler, the King of Kings, is Jesus Christ. I trust Jesus. Do you?
I absolutely trust Jesus.
As a data analyst, as a data analyst, I bring together data and I pattern it and I trend it. And if I see it in a centralized location, I can tell patterns. I can see where it's happening. I can see the narrative.
Yo, you made it.
And so
It's on the same stage that we are, so it's the same one. I'd have to look it up for you, but this is not a show. And it wouldn't be the first time I've been undercover. I was undercover, in Iraq too. So I'm looking for any and all veterans that want to participate in a movement within the movement.
However, it did feel as if intelligence operation that went too fast. I want to back that up and read that. Bear with me for a second here, guys. I want to back this up and read this.
I've been undercover. I was undercover, in Iraq too. So I'm looking for any and all veterans that want to participate in a movement within the movement.
However, it did feel as if an intelligence operation was being carried out by the American Project to learn more about those present. Each station had an American Project representative present. Throughout the day, the representatives would meet behind closed doors with Patrick Byrne. Brian Gamble, the chief intelligence officer for the American Project, oversaw the technology discussion.
We have an army of digital soldiers.
If memory serves, the influencers were split into approximately 6 different groups with about 6 individuals per group. There were 6 substantial topics that each group.
Are now what I call them, because this was an insurgency, folks. This was run like an insurgency. This was irregular warfare at its finest.
This is a full view of the board behind Michael Flynn and Mike Lindell.
And that story will continue to be told here, but we have what we call citizen journalists. Because the journalists that we have in our media did a disservice to themselves, actually more than they did to this country.
About the prayer, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree there's nothing wrong with this prayer.
I love Michael Flynn. I was loyal to Michael Flynn. I stood up for Michael Flynn. I had no reason to attack him until facts came to my attention that raised serious concerns about his truthfulness.
Instrument of those sevenfold rays and all your archangels, all of them.
And I am the instrument of those sevenfold rays and archangels.
We will not retreat. We will stand our ground.
I will not retreat. I will take my stand.
We will not fear to speak. We will be the instrument of your will, whatever it is.
I will not fear to speak, and I will be the instrument of God's will, whatever it is.
In your name and the name of your legions.
Here I am, so help me God, in the name of Archangel Michael and his legions.
We are freeborn. We shall remain freeborn.
I am freeborn, and I shall remain freeborn.
And we shall not be enslaved by any foe, within or without.
And I shall not be enslaved by any foe within or
a lot of people in the Christian world believe that when you pray to rays of light and legion, you're praying to the devil. And so I even saw a show the other day saying, Mike's flipped on the side of the devil. Can you please explain what happened there, sir?
Yeah, so I find it actually pretty funny.
But I know that a lot of people, they read so much into this stuff. I carry with me a prayer to Saint Michael the Archangel, who I am named after. So that prayer that I gave, I got up that morning and I felt, when I finish my talk, I want to finish with a prayer. And I was thinking about what should I say, and I carry with me this little card, and on that card is the prayer to Saint Michael the Archangel. So I basically gave a rendition of that prayer, and that's really what this whole thing is about. So all these people that talk about turning to whatever, that you get off that. Quit. People need to stop overthinking what everybody is saying and listen to what is happening around us. Listen and pay attention to the reality that is happening around us, instead of worrying about in this case, worrying about and interpreting things that don't need interpretation. That was a very, very straightforward.
Madame Helena Blavatsky, who was a 19th century occultist witch. She was the teacher of the 7 rays of light.
Yes.
She wrote the book, The Secret Doctrine. And she was just as evil as you can get.
Right, which also connects you over to Freemasonry.
Freemasonry.
Right.
Because this guild of magicians had a lodge. So at the core of this thing is Freemasonry.
Mike Lindell has dedicated his life to this, and you have dedicated your life to turning this country around. How do people find out more about your travels, more about your writings?
But like you, Mike Lindell has dedicated his life to this, and you have dedicated your life to turn this country around. How do people find out more about your travels?
Trump knows everything. Michael Flynn was tied to NSO between Obama and when he came into the Trump administration. NSO produced Pegasus, a surveillance software for phones. I noted that the quote-unquote Biden person, whoever it is, imposed a restriction on any American business doing business with NSO. I think Donald Trump knows.
To save yourself, your political career, that's okay. At least you're going to get some good Republicans elected. And, we like you, but my God, maybe you're not that bright. Maybe Trump's actually a dumbass. It's about the Republic.
If there was a guy if there was a person who could be vindictive against Donald Trump, you're looking at him.
I'm so sick of fucking Donald Trump, man. God, I'm fucking sick of him.
He says he's a Trump supporter, right?
Trump, would you shut up? Would you shut up? Rhetorically, Trump was retarded. Trump was just annoying.
Well, that's exactly how you would do it. Think about it.
Stop the Steal is not just a political movement. It's not even a Trump movement. It's not a Trump movement.
You become the face of your enemy so that when the media demonizes you, they're actually demonizing your enemy.
I'm done with this president. I'm going to go public supporting impeachment. I have no choice. He has to go. He has to go. Run again. You'll get your fucking brains beat in.
This is a conference that General Flynn and Clay Clark put together.
It's like 150 people are going to be there that are all podcasters and influencers, and total something like 100 million subscribers between all the people that are there.
Guys, this made me sick to figure out because, like I said, I was practically worshiping Donald Trump without even knowing it. And Donald Trump is a satanic Freemason.
We have an army of digital soldiers. What we are now, I call them, because this was an insurgency, folks. This was run like an insurgency. This was irregular warfare at its finest in politics. And that story will continue to be told here. But we have what we call citizen journalists. Okay? Because the journalists that we have in our media did a disservice to themselves, actually more than they did to this country. They did a disservice to themselves because they displayed an arrogance that is unprecedented. I mean, I could stand all day and go, that son of a gun, look at what he did to me. It's not Donald Trump that did it. It's these institutions.
They bullied him into it.
And it's they didn't bully him.
General Flynn, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's a great way to
to notice a shill is just find who's calling General Flynn a Satanist these days or a deep state general, and boom, you've got a questionable person right there.
If it took you where you don't want to go into politics, would you consider the vice presidential nod?
Hey, Stu, let's get one thing straight here with Trump. Trump's
you may run for president. Is that the...
No, don't worry about that.
Gotta love General Flynn. He's taking all the slings and arrows for us. Yeah, so they're trying to undermine the truthful, independent journalists who are over target, like you, like we the media, like Flynn.
And in fifth generation warfare, I part of what I call it is I call it a war of narratives, where there's distraction, there's deception, there's truth, there's some physical aspects of it. There's certainly adversarial elements. There's adversarial elements within it that are not normal, what you would describe as military type capabilities, right? Media would be part of that. Propaganda. So smart leaders, smart generals over time, over the history of time, have always used distraction, deception, untruths, and mixed with some truth. That would be a little bit of what we would refer to in the world of deception, particularly deception operations in a military campaign. So you have to have all of these different components, before you even start talking about the physical things that you might do or might not do. But you have to have a different set of adversaries. So right now, I believe in our country, and that's why it's interesting that this commercial came up, essentially this recruiting commercial came up. They are trying to recruit in this new world. And psychological operations have been around a long time. They've always been trying to recruit, and they get really talented people. They get very talented people, very creative, very, very sort of deep thinkers, some people that would you'd not necessarily say, oh yeah, this is a perfect soldier for the Army, right? Yeah, they're a little bit. The really, really talented ones are the ones that you want to have that kind of creativity. So that's the type of people that you're trying to get from a military perspective. But in the strategic sense of what is happening to us right now in the United States, and it ties directly into this global reset that is occurring, that is led by the World Economic Forum. It has components in the World Health Organization, in the United Nations, in the World Bank, in the International Monetary Fund, etc. That there are these distractions and these methods that they are using, and in many cases, and in fact in most cases, they're being much, much more public about what it is that they are trying to achieve.
You understand enough about someone, and you can hack their shadow, right? You can use their fears. You can use their anxieties.
It's a movement that spun out of your digital soldiers. I'm tired of these QAnon people attacking me.
Maybe, I don't know that.
But you know some of them.
I think it's a disinformation campaign. I think it's a disinformation campaign that the CIA created. That's what I believe, Al.
People don't understand some of the things that President Trump does. They look at it and go, why would he endorse that person? Trust him that he has a reason. If I'm right, and I believe I am, that he's 20 steps ahead of everybody, he knows where he's going. He has not left. Why did Michael Flynn say Trump gave up on us? No, he did not. He's still fighting. Why did Mike Flynn and Sidney Powell and Patrick Byrne try to get President Trump in December to sign martial law publicly? Because if they had done that, and if he had done that, the country would have gone into a civil war, because even half of the people that voted for Trump had been brainwashed to believe that he lost and that he was going to try to coup the country with the military. They tried to set him up. He didn't bite. So if I were Mike Flynn, I wouldn't sleep well at night.
We have great generals, but not the television generals.
But not the television generals.
Yeah.
Oh, 1, 2. Oh, 1, 2.
What a way to end a video, right? What a way to end a video. Yeah. Politico, there's a lot of crazy going on. Pro-Trump lawyer blows up key GOP race, and it says here that Lynn, you'll always be great in my book. Keep fighting. You are one of a kind. Donald J. Trump. Yep. All right. Yeah. So here we go. Dane says, this is what's swarming through your borders and being paid for by you. Anybody believe her son, or any of the other millions of people exactly like her will benefit this country one single bit? She's not a refugee. She's not an immigrant. She's not here legally. Why is she here? She's an economic drain, a personal, societal threat, and the epicenter of more just like her in the future. She needs to be removed immediately.
You need to get you checked out, okay?
How do you mean?
Let's talk to a doctor, yeah?
I'm not sick.
Okay. Well, what's going on? Because this isn't normal
Sick.
behavior, correct?
I came to this house and I found out that the house is dirty. They have dog poop right there. They will not clean it. Go over there. There's a cat that is dead. Who is removing that cat?
Let's go talk to my car, yeah?
I don't know how the cat got dead. I am the woman who built everything among everything. So if you say you don't know me, then I have to fuck you tonight. So that you will eat your own head and break my house.
Don't do that. Stop. Don't do that. Stop. Don't do that.
Let me, I'm going to take my back.
Don't do that.
Leave me. Leave my son alone. No. Tessa, leave my son alone. Hold my keys. I said, give me my ring. Hey, my hand hurts. You know I have cuticles and well last time. Remove it. Okay, I'll obey. I have promised. I'll be the most innocent person in the world. Oh no, my baby is going to stay with me 24/7. No, I'm going to watch over him because if I leave my baby.
My son is going to jail with me. Okay. What a great mom you are. Yeah. Take your kid to jail day. All right. Western Lensman says James Carville has a meltdown, defends walls, attacks Jesse B. Waters, takes a tampon and shove it right up your ass. Extreme language warning. Carville, longtime Democrat operative, apparently didn't get the campaign of joy memo. Get this man a mental health professional. You're not kidding.
You know, Governor Tim has called them weird, and that doesn't nearly describe this. So I have a message to Jesse and of the whole freak show is, why don't you take a tampon and shove it right up your ass? Because that's where it goes, right up your ass. Or maybe you could stick it in your mouth, and maybe you could take a used one and stick it in your mouth and suck on it, because that's what you do. You suck. Thank you and good night.
Wow, this dude has serious mental disorders. Guy needs some serious counseling. Yep. Okay, Turning Point UK says over a year since Antifa thug David Banks kicked an 18-year-old Turning Point UK activist in the head, hospitalizing him. Banks still has not been taken to court. It appears violence is acceptable when it is being committed against those on the right. And that's part of your two-tier justice system. Yep, there he goes. Yeah. So it was on video, showed it kicking the dude in the head. You just saw that, right? Let it play again. Here he goes, right here. Boom. Kicks him in the head. Nothing happens. Yep. All right, Sebastian Gorka. This is the best 2 minutes on who President Trump is and why we want him back. Actually, I played this yesterday, so I'm not going to play it again. All right. Johnny Midnight says Pelosi took her son, Paul Jr., on this last trip to Asia and to Ukraine. Turns out Paul Jr. is on the boards of 2 lithium companies in Taiwan. Her office blocked his name out anytime it was mentioned in the official records. Now we know why she went. Looks like another Hunter situation. Absolutely. Hang on a minute, guys. All right, let me turn this one on.
Everybody, come take my hand. This world will take together through the storm. Everybody, come take my hand. This world will take together through the storm.
Are you leaving them?
Everybody.
I'm sitting here talking to myself because I forgot to take myself off the mute because the idiots won't stop. Enough. Thank you. All right, Chad Prather. The ball's on this guy, Mark Rowley. I played this yesterday, but I'm going to play it again just so everybody gets it.
We will throw the full force of the law at people. And whether you're in this country committing crimes on the streets or committing crimes from further afield online, we will come after you.
Talk to me about that, because we have seen some high-profile figures whipping up the hatred. You talked about it in there with the officers, in fact, about this being added to by online commentary. I mean, I'm even thinking of the likes of Elon Musk getting involved. What are you considering when it comes to dealing with people who are whipping up this kind of behaviour from behind a keyboard, maybe in a different country?
Being a keyboard warrior does not make you safe from the law. You can be guilty of offences of incitement, of stirring up racial hatred. There are numerous terrorist offences regarding the sort of publishing of material. All of those offences are in play if people are provoking hatred and violence on the streets, and we will come after those individuals just as we will physically confront on the streets the thugs and the obs who are causing the problems for communities.
Yeah, so this guy here thinks he's going to come to American soil and take people. Yeah, all right.
Let's be real, it's a lot of fun owning liberals. But if I'm being honest, it's way more fun when they own themselves. Take, for example, William Legate. William here is a paid liberal influencer for the Kamala Harris campaign. And he put out this tweet. Breaking. Trump has ordered his team to literally cover up entire levels of venues he's unable to fill with black cloths to make it appear as if there aren't thousands of empty seats. And let me tell you, he's exactly right. Huge chunks of this venue were covered up with these black cloths in order to make it seem like you were filling up the entire venue. However, the problem was that was a Harris Walls rally. He didn't take the time to check the video. He just saw the picture and ran with it. Like you can see here that this is the Desert Diamond Casino, and here's those big black cloths. Yeah, Desert Diamond Casino, big black cloths, Harris Walls. He literally posted a screenshot of a Kamala Harris rally and was talking shit about it. And the worst part is the Harris campaign is paying this dude. This dude is getting paid tens of thousands of dollars to post this shit. I mean, don't get me wrong, he deleted the tweet, but you can't take that back.
That's the older millennial for you. Yep. All right. Only one script keeper.
Script keeper.
60 seconds and your popcorn. So I figured I'd come on and I'd just show you this. They do the same thing on here. I wish that TikTok would follow on the example of what X does. Okay. So I'm gonna give y'all a breakdown of what I've been dealing with, and you know, the people that hit me up like, oh, they got me for money. I don't ever ask y'all for money. I do ask for support. If you want to support, you can get a t-shirt, you can listen to my music, stream my music. My live streams are free. I do them on X and Rumble. I don't charge anything for them. On Instagram for the past 5 years, I've gone live on there. Even TikTok, I've gone live on when I had my big accounts before I lost them. I've never charged y'all for anything. I've only given the information that I've researched and found myself on my own, and I've used some of the information that you guys have found, and you know, done a video on it. I've been here for a very long time, but when these people that are doing this, I don't know who's doing this. I have an idea, but we're taking a legal route to this now. So I'm going to be getting the IP addresses to all these people that are impersonating my accounts, because they're scamming people and asking them for their crypto wallets. I don't have nothing to do with crypto, guys. I mean, some people will send donations, and you know, they'll send me, like, they make me a cool sign, or they do art. They'll make, like, here, I'll show y'all. So I got one friend, my boy Sean. He hooked me up with this. It's a cool. Have another one here. This is a. I'm not going to show it because, of course, you know, TikTok will say I violated the community, so that's why I didn't show it. But you guys know what it is. Here's some other cool stuff. My boy Chris made this. That's steel. So, you know, he welded it, put together for me, which I think is pretty dope. I got this one from Black Sheep. I got another one right here. This one I've had for a long time. Now, you know me, I don't go bragging. I don't talk about all the stuff that people send me. I mean, I'll show you some other stuff. Kim got these for me. If you know, I'm a big Grogu fan. I like Grogu in Star Wars. You're like, wait, what? Mark Hamill. I don't care about none of that. Okay? I'm a Grogu fan. Black Sheep got me this, the Apocrypha. Another great book, very thick one. And this book has a lot of great information in it. This and so a couple other things. A lot of great stuff, man. But you never ask, you know, like, people for money. Like, this is what we call out. We call these people out. The Lindells and all these people. Oh, help me fight this and help me fight that, or donate now. The Democrats are stealing this, or the Republicans are stealing this. It's never been about that. It's just been about the awakening process of people just waking up. You, me, Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative. Everybody forgets that we're all we the people. All of us are Americans. So finally, X removed the account. You know, this is what TikTok needs to do, and Instagram. Instead, they remove my accounts. So you guys know I'm not going to ask you for money, crypto, none of your crypto wallets, nothing like that. A lot of people do ask if they want to donate. That's cool, man. But I'm not going to beg you for donations like some of these other fucking podcasters, TikTokers, and all of that. We don't do that. I work a regular job. I do this in my part-time and my spare time. And, you know, whenever I'm talking to you, I'm either walking diesel, I'm in my car, or I'm doing a live stream. I'll be live tonight on Rumble with Joker at 7 p.m. Like I said, go to my link tree and scriptkeeper.com, but none of these other accounts are me. Okay. So if you get a message saying, hey, this is me, follow my Telegram account. It's not me. If you get a message where they're impersonating me and they're saying, hey, this is Script, you got to go to my Telegram account and I'm going to give you the great news. Have you heard about the ISO 2020 coin, or this token, or that crypto? That is not me. Okay, guys? That is somebody impersonating me, trying to get money from you. All right? There you go. 60 seconds and about 5 minutes. Follow me on X and go to Rumble tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay. I just want to throw this out there. If you're new to the chat, don't assume that you came into a chat full of a bunch of people who are asleep. Okay. The people who are in this chat have been with me since 2017. The majority of them, most of the information that you're dropping in the chat, they already know. We've already covered it. Sometimes it's best just sit back and kind of absorb what we're talking about, why we share the information that we're sharing. We do get new people who come in that have not a clue. And sometimes we play some older stuff in order for them to begin their awakening process. Okay. But by all means, don't think that we're anyway fucking asleep. Yeah, 2017, Johnny. You know, I'm on Hawks Mustard Seeds number 25 on YouTube for a reason. And that's because I was censored off of this platform. You know, well, you figure 3 strikes per. So 100 times I've lost my platform and had to rebuild and rebuild and rebuild over and over and over again. You know, my first channel, we had well over 17,000 people. Okay. And then I had to change because my, and a lot of those people were people who followed me because of the fact that I'm in the cannabis industry. Okay. And I covered a lot of medical things in regards to, in regards to the, to that industry and about the plant as a medicine and everything else. Okay. And we lost those channels, all 6 of them. And now we're, you know, we started with Hawks Mustard Seeds, and then we went Hawks Mustard Seeds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So over these years, we've been censored completely off the platform. Okay. But we keep making new channels, especially on the YouTube side, because of the fact that that's where people need the most awakening at. If you're already on X, you're already seeing information. If you're already on Rumble, you're already seeing up-to-date information. Okay. And when I first started the Hawks Mustard Seeds, okay, we started off doing prayathons that were 48 to 72 hours long. We'd start every Friday at 5 p.m. and we would end on Monday at 5 p.m. Okay. Then we had to cut it back to 24 hours, and then we had to, and then I had to stop because it was really, yeah. there were a lot of things that were happening, and it ended up bringing that to an end. And we are going to do a couple more of those. I actually sent a message to Diamond Lil, and I'm hoping that she responds pretty soon. I want to get together with her and Auntie Wells and a few others and get our next one set up. And we're probably going to do that probably in the next month, because we know that there's going to be a lot of changes coming up here rather quickly. But during the prayathons, we would share more information. Okay. You know, but people had that period of time to come in and drop whatever was going on with them into chat and ask for prayer. And we had hundreds, and then we had a couple of thousand people who were tuning in. Even if they weren't catching it live, they were tuning in later, sharing and continuing the prayers, you know, and everything. And it got to the point where even YouTube was criticizing us because of the prayathons. We'd have, you know, those taken down, and then we'd start another. We had another channel that is back up, and we just kept going. You know, by the way, people, if 25 goes down, 24 is still on standby. Okay, so don't forget that. You know, I'm not saying that, Pandora. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, I just want people to understand that when you're coming in, understand that the people that are here, you know, are here because they, you know, because they're awake already. Okay. And a lot of the things that you've dropped in the chat and everything, we already know that there was no severance from Britain, other than the taxing that was going on. Okay, was the only thing that stopped. Okay, and everything came in through the shadows. Okay, that King George retained ownership of the land. So we've been leasing the land all these years, but that's coming to an end. That's 100% coming to an end. And so we know this stuff. I just, that's all I'm saying is we already know this stuff. Just kind of work with us and see where our conversations go before just, going off on people or, and I know you're not trying to be rude or anything. I'm just saying, if you're tuning in for the first time, give us a chance. Understand where we're coming from and what we see and what we've discovered and everything else. You'd have to go through a whole bunch of prior podcasts in order to find how deep we go into things. A lot of different topics, whether it's the Masons or the Luciferians or all the other satanic cults and things like that. We cover all this stuff, and it's a process, The thing is that we try to do it in a way that you're getting a little bit of this, 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 nothing too overwhelming. And the things that you can use, you pick up and carry on with you. Everything else is left behind for the person behind you to pick up because they haven't had that piece yet. You know what I mean? So it's the idea of filling everybody's journals completely with everything that we can. If you already got this piece of information, then you pass it on to the next person, and that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right. I mean, therefore I am breaking. Thousands of people have taken to the streets of the Serbian capital to protest against the rebooting of the lithium mine set to serve as a vital power source in Europe's green energy transition. The crowds chanted, "There will be no mining," and treason, treason, treason. And those streets are filled. Those streets are filled. And the thing is these are all unarmed people. These are all unarmed people. Imagine if all these people actually had rifles. Do you think that their governments would be changing their minds then? Absolutely. Okay. All right. That's my gas lady. She's back, and I've got to go and empty these. So let me throw on a video for you, and
We have these Venezuelan gangs that have come into the United States that have gone through the border, that either were detected or undetected, but they were let in. They are now taking over blocks in the United States. We broke the story a couple of weeks ago. There's an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado. We had a gentleman come on as the owner. They have taken over 2 of his apartment buildings. They've harassed the residents. When people move in, they get illegals. That when people move out, they move in illegals. They just break into the apartment, move them in, and they collect the rent. They have threatened the owner. The owner has gone to multiple authorities. He went to the cops. They said they could do nothing. They were squatters. They're actually collecting the rent in empty apartments. They threatened the guy and said, if you keep harassing us, we're going to kill you and your family. The FBI, they went to them. They did nothing. DHS, they went to them. They did nothing. They go to every security apparatus. They said, oh, you got to go to a legal case. They're now squatters. I mean, this is what's going on in the United States. These gangs are popping up all over the place. They're being let in the country. They're taking over blocks. They walk around the apartment building with machine guns hanging on their breath. This is a military occupied territory in the United States, but Colorado's a sanctuary state. Denver's a sanctuary city. The mayor there does nothing. The politicians do nothing. And meantime, residents are harassed and they got to move out. And so this is happening all over the country. This is part of the Harris, Walz, Obama, Biden plan. Let as many people come in the country as they want, take it over, destroy it from within, and then basically they're going to have power in perpetuity. And we're doing nothing about it. When you go to the authorities and you're basically told they've taken over your apartment buildings they're threatening you to kill you and your family, and they can do nothing about it. Where the hell is this thing going?
All right. That was quick. She actually got the cans all unloaded without a problem. And it was when she got back in her car and closed the door that all the dogs realized that she was here. Great watchdogs you all are. Yeah. and for those of you that this is your first time here, this is what I was talking about. Hang on. And that's not even all the dogs. That's an older picture. Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to have to go back up and unlock the gate again. No worries. No worries. I'll get another video playing and I'll run up there and unlock it again. It's not a problem. I have some friends coming down from Washington bringing me a better generator than the little one that I currently have. Okay. Okay, we got that. All right, now. All right, moving on. All right, MJ Truth Ultra, bombshell update, Trump assassination attempt. This is kind of an interesting one. Here we go.
It's been a month since Trump was nearly killed, and the FBI has barely said a word about what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. Thankfully, Congress is churning out new information to help the American people understand what happened. Records obtained by Senator Chuck Grassley show Thomas Crook's intense preparation in the months leading up to his assassination attempt. Turns out that Crooks first joined the Clairton Gun Club in August of last year, just a year ago, and then visited the range 43 times. Crooks even spent holidays at the shooting range, including Christmas, Valentine's Day, Halloween. And his parents didn't think this was strange. In 2024, he went to the range for target practice 3 to 6 times a month, almost exclusively training with rifles, not handguns, and made one final visit the day before shooting Trump. The shooting range was crawling with feds. Multiple local and federal law enforcement agencies trained at this facility, including the Department of Homeland Security, which oversees Secret Service. Crooks was training under federal law enforcement's nose. We're now seeing just how close they got to each other. Just 2 months before trying to kill Trump, Crooks was at the range within 24 hours of a Homeland Security Office training session. Meanwhile, new body cam footage from the rally shows Crooks on the AGR building rooftop just minutes before he opened fire. It appears Crooks was picked up on the body cam, but the officer didn't see him that far off in the distance. Footage also revealed the moment an officer was lifted onto the roof and spotted Crooks 30 seconds before he pulled the trigger, and the aftermath when he tried to warn other officials. Listen.
He's laying down. He's going north. Next building over. Right after the gap. He's got glasses, long hair. Need a ladder. Need a ladder. Climb the wall. And I put my head right in front of him, bro. He's got a book bag. He's got mag, AR.
And we also heard the immediate aftermath of the shooting, with locals questioning why the Secret Service allowed so many security failures.
I'd say this is a up.
Sorry, not sure which gas company.
Somebody
them and have them respond.
We're on the roof. The stage is right there. Why are we not on the roof?
Because it's football from us. You need to go somewhere over the west coast.
Why weren't we?
Sure.
I told them they need to post the guy over here. I told them that the Secret Service. I told them that Tuesday. I told them to post guys over here. I talked to the Secret Service guys. They're like, yeah, no problem. We're going to post guys over here.
Not only did the Secret Service ignore warnings and recommendations from the locals, it's now been a month since the shooting. And Senator Grassley says the Secret Service still hasn't met with the county SWAT team.
Yep. Funny how this is all working out. All right, this had me in tears, says Script Keeper.
People can't seem to grasp the fact that I'm a lesbian.
First of all, you are a dude. But if you identify as a lesbian, it means you like girls. So you are not... I am very confused. So if a donkey want to be a camel, but he don't like the camel, he go like donkey. So hey brother, I identify as a bank owner from now on.
People can't seem to grasp the fact that I'm a lesbian.
Oh boy. I identify as a banker from now on. Oh yeah. Yeah, we know. Yeah, it's oh man. All right, thanks to fake news MSNBC for having me on with an entire panel crying about how Elon Musk has taken the media out of the way and calling for government control over X. I'm sorry this is happening to y'all. Here we go.
Elon has just taken the media out of the way, and he has no middleman. He's directly feeding disinformation to the masses.
His conspiracy theories are transparently laughable.
I am scared by Elon Musk. I think that he's spreading misinformation. I think that it's dangerous. And I think we don't have the mechanisms of control in government.
He is now regularly spreading false information about the election, about VP Harris. How concerned should we be of his influence and his potential impact?
Well, Stephanie, I've been listening to you and your activist guests for over 5 minutes now, accusing Elon Musk of spreading misinformation without providing any specific examples or evidence to back those claims. So I would say right here and right now, you are the ones that spreading actual misinformation, but we are on MSNBC, so that is to be expected.
Jamie Navani, that's who that is. Yep. All right, here we go.
All right, so maybe this qualifies as like tinfoil hat conspiracy shit. I've asked other people about these two things and nobody seems to have a good explanation. So I figured I'd put it out here on TikTok, listen to what y'all think. Recently, I said that this picture was AI. And of course, Harry Sisson, Good Trouble, all the usual suspects came out and said I was wrong. So in response, I just want to point out two things real quick. The first being, this is not Air Force One, nor is this Air Force Two. I'm not saying the plane's AI. This definitely isn't Air Force One or Two, because in any picture where you look up Air Force One or Two, it has a tail number. This plane does not. This would be the first time we've ever seen Air Force Two without a tail number. So maybe they got him a new plane. I don't know, but this is definitely not Air Force Two. Secondly, let's take a closer look at the crowd. Do y'all see what's missing in this picture? No? Let me zoom in. Do you see what's missing now? How about here? How about if we zoom in really close? Yeah, the thing that's missing is all of them. No matter where we zoom in on this plane, front, back, engine, no matter how closely we zoom in, we very clearly see a Secret Service agent, very clearly see a couple people over here walking. We very clearly see this building, but we don't see them. None of these people are reflected in the image of the plane. I'm not drawing any conclusions from that. I'm not saying anything whatsoever is happening here. I'm simply saying that these people are apparently here. I can't see them here. I can't see them here. And I can't see them here even when I zoom in. I can very clearly see all the other people, but not the crowd. Just saying that seems a little weird.
Just a little weird. All right. So here we go with Kamala is now plagiarizing Trump's campaign policy.
Including to raise the minimum wage.
Wait a minute. Didn't minimum wage get raised to like $13 an hour? Or something like that? You know, for the McDonald's workers and stuff like that. Didn't they get like $13 an hour? That's why half of those companies are going out of business now, because that they're nobody's going to them anymore, and they're paying these guys $13 an hour. Yeah, I'd go broke too.
And eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
Okay, now let's talk about when she was a senator. She was the one who initiated the tax on tips. She's the one who forced the FBI to create an entire, or the IRS to create an entire department to deal with tips, taxing tips. Yeah. This woman needs some serious help. So I shared this with you guys yesterday about this Secret Service agent who broke into the Massachusetts hair salon. This is the actual agent here. I thought it would be kind of good for everybody to know what she actually looks like. So that you can make sure that if they ever come to your town, that if this see you next Tuesday knocks on your door, that you just chase her away. Yeah. Breaking into a person's private business in order to use it as a bathroom for people going to, yeah. All right. Colin Rugg says Joe Biden confirms he was pushed out of the race by top Democrats. Here we go.
Look, the polls we had showed that it was a neck-and-neck race. Would have been down to the wire. But what happened was a number of my Democratic colleagues in the House and Senate thought that I was going to hurt them in the races. And I was concerned if I stayed in the race, that would be the topic. You'd be interviewing me about why did Nancy Pelosi say, why did someone, and I thought it'd be a real distraction.
Yeah. Well, Joe, you've been a distraction for the last 3.5 years. Thankfully, we're going to get better at it. So, all right, here we go.
So let me see if I got this straight. In the UK, you had roving bands of Muslim migrants carrying pipes, machetes, and knives. And they were running around attacking British citizens for doing British things. And don't try to gaslight me and tell me that didn't fucking happen, because I saw the video. I saw the many videos of it happening. So it fucking happened. So you had Muslim migrant groups running around attacking British citizens for just doing normal things. But they were attacking them because the things that the people were doing, the Muslim groups didn't feel was in line with Sharia law. They didn't feel that British citizens should have the right to drink beer or eat swine. And they attacked them for it, like right out and open in the street. They grabbed machetes and pipes and knives and waited outside pubs, daring people to drink beer. And your police didn't do a fucking thing. Okay. But then British citizens started posting about it on Facebook and X. And then your police took action. So even though they hadn't arrested any of these migrants who had cut, stabbed, or beat people, they managed to arrest the people who posted about it on Facebook and Twitter. And within 3 days, they managed to charge, process, try, and convict them while sentencing them to 20 plus years in prison for a Facebook post about the migrants attacking people and about the fact that the police aren't doing anything. And the British citizens who posted about it are going to prison for 2 decades because they said it was a bad thing. I am genuinely at a loss for words.
That's rare. That's very rare. All right.
Here's a kicker for you. There's this police commissioner in London, Mark Rowley. Did you hear this one? This little pussy is screaming and yelling because the immigrants, the illegal aliens, are taking over and destroying over there. And all the fucking woke-ass pussies running that fucking town. All due respect to my good friends and fans over there in England, going through the same shit we're going here with this woke bullshit of the invasion of illegal aliens destroying your community. So get back to Mr. Mark Rowley, the commissioner of the police department, who just made a statement that anybody in America who is posting negative things or ugly things about the illegal aliens, he's going to extradite us from here, bring us over there and lock us up. Let me give you a little, listen to me. Mr. Rowley, I'm sure hopefully you see this. Get in touch with me. It's very easy to communicate with me. I'll pay for the plane for you to come over here and try to take my fucking feet off of this American fucking soil and bring it over to your shithole where you're running to fucking lock me up. I beg you. Maybe you forgot a little something called 1776, where us fuckers left your shit for the same bullshit you're trying to pull now. Fuck off, you fucking cunt.
Oop, he said the see you next Tuesday word. I didn't say it. He said it. You can't blame me. It's not my fault. All right.
The second component for election integrity is you got to be in the room. We announced when Laura Trump and I took over at the RNC 4 months ago that we were going to recruit over 100,000 volunteers into our national program, our Protect the Vote program. Happy to say that we've already got 157,000 volunteers who've registered for that program. We're going to continue to push for the next 87 days to make sure that we have the biggest, most robust national election integrity program in the history of the country. The second component for...
So, all right, moving along. So, unlimited L's. Now, this is, a trucker who drove on the wrong side of a Nevada highway, killing 3 motorcyclists, has been sentenced to 4 to 10 years in prison. LaClaude Rafiki, 29, an African immigrant, caused a crash on March 23rd that killed Owen Hart, 22, Athena Taylor, 21, and Jeremy Gibo, 44. Hart's parents, who were celebrating his 22nd birthday, witnessed their son's death. Rafiki obtained the U.S. citizenship in 2021. He pled guilty to 3 counts of reckless driving, resulting in death. Dashcam footage shows Rafiki driving on the wrong side of the road for nearly 30 seconds before crashing into the motorcyclist. He remained on the wrong side of the road for 15 more seconds after dodging another vehicle. Yeah. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. All right. Here's some Senator Kennedy for you.
Jeffrey Epstein had video surveillance in all of his homes and on his private island. And there have been articles after articles from witnesses who have said he videotaped sex acts with prominent people because he was trying to incur with young girls that he had procured to try to incur favor with those prominent people and potentially to be able to blackmail them. Now, that's a fact. And the FBI and other federal agencies have raided his houses. Do you have those tapes?
Again, I can't discuss the specifics of our law enforcement operations related to Mr. Epstein or Ms. Maxwell, but obviously we had very active investigation related to both of them. But whether it extends to other people, I'm not sure that's something.
But here, a suit was filed yesterday against one of those prominent people by one of the young women sex trafficked. And we keep seeing article after article after article, and we keep hearing about prominent person after prominent person after prominent person. I just want to know if these prominent people are above the law and are going to be and aren't being investigated, or is the FBI investigating?
Well, no one is above the law, number one. As to whether specific people are being investigated, that's not something that I, as I'm sure you can appreciate, can engage on here. We've devoted significant resources to the investigation.
Is it ongoing?
I'm not sure there's anything I can share with you on that, but let me see if we can get back to you and provide a little
Well, for example, these allegations in this lawsuit, the civil action.
I haven't seen
You ought to read
the article.
It'll trigger your gag reflex. Is the FBI going to investigate that?
Well, again, I haven't seen the article, but I would be happy to take a look at it. And take
I'd just like to know.
I share your.
Yeah, is the FBI still investigating this, or are these prominent people going to go scot-free?
I'm not sure that I can tell you whether or not there is ongoing work being devoted to this. I would be happy to take a look at the specific article.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy.
Yeah. Hide much, Ray? Hide much? Yeah. All right. All right. Let's see. See, we already got that one. And here we go. Civil war is inevitable. Let's see.
A lot of these migrants are coming in and people are saying they feel like they're being replaced, and the veterans that fought for you guys are on the streets while migrants get put up in hotels. How does that make you feel?
Obviously, we're not happy about it. We've got nothing about migration. We're not against migration. We're about controlling our borders. If I was to go to another country, I would be vetted. And if I'd been in trouble before or had any past history, I wouldn't be allowed in. We're not about anti-immigration. We're about controlling the migration. And if we don't take control of the migration, we're going to be outnumbered in our own country. We will no longer be a Christian country. We'll be controlled by an Islamic movement. That's what is worrying and concerning. £29 million spent on illegal immigrants in the last 18 months, all aged between 20 and 30, fighting age. No women, no children, put up in 4- or 5-star hotels. But yet there's veterans on our street, homeless, on the street. It's all wrong. It needs to be put right. Government needs to be outed. If we have to issue Article 61 on common law, then so be it. We will do it. That's what's happening next if they don't listen. We will not comply.
You believe a civil war is on the rise?
A civil war is inevitable. It will happen if they don't listen. 100%. We're not messing about. Yeah, they need to listen. They need to wake up. The sheeple need to wake up because they're asleep.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of everywhere. It's kind of everywhere. All right. So that is what I had set for today. I didn't really go into a whole lot more. Let's get a couple more.
Okay, so by now I'm sure you've all been watching what's been going on in the UK. Synopsis, a couple of girls were murdered by a gentleman who was 18 years old. The girls were very young. They were at like a Taylor Swift yoga party or something like that. Initially, the people of the UK thought that the person that had killed them was an immigrant. Took to the streets. They were anti-immigration rallies. The person that killed him was not an immigrant, but his parents were, but he was born in the UK, so he's a British citizen. That didn't necessarily stop or slow down the rallies and riots that were happening based on the people who were against the open immigration system that the UK has recently adapted. Got kind of weird, and like Muslims kind of gotten involved. Nobody's really sure if they're calling them these far right groups, but there's a lot of Muslims that are involved that are I'm not really sure. The point of the story is that anybody that in the UK that has been speaking out against what happened, or it's been posting videos about what happened or memes about what happened, are having repercussions placed upon them. Like they're going to jail. Like the British police are showing up at their house if they retweeted something they weren't supposed to and sentencing them to jail for like 20 months simply for posting or reposting things on specifically X. Also been trying to come after Elon Musk and sue him, trying to get him to take the posts down and to stop fanning the flame. But Elon's like, fuck you, freedom of speech. Now they're arresting these people and they're refusing them bail, and the whole thing is wild and scary. So over here in the States, we're just kind of watching like, God dang, we got you, Britain. Since the British can't talk about what's going on, we're going to go ahead and do it. There's been a whole campaign of American citizens that are blasting these videos and these memes and these posts all over X, since the people in Britain can't do so. There is also like a chat helpline with the police, like a narc line, can report things that are happening. These patriots took to that line as well and just started trolling the entirety of the UK police, hilariously. And the UK government had to end up shutting this site down for Americans to be able to view it, then come out and threaten to extradite United States citizens to Britain in order to stand trial for doing things like this. We will throw the full force of the law at people, and whether you're in this country committing crimes on the streets or committing crimes from further afield online, we will come after you. You and what army? Because you gave up your firearms and we did not. The reason that with all the ongoings going on, Iran and Russia and China, there's a reason we've never been invaded. Sure, the United States has a strong military, had a strong military, I'm not really sure. It's got people that are fed the fuck up. Those people didn't buy into the buyback programs. Some of y'all did. You and what army? And can they do that? Is that even legal? Does it matter now? I don't know. We don't even know who's running the country. Joe is sitting on a beach. Kamala's off campaigning. We don't even know who's in charge. We don't even know who's at the White House. Jean-Pierre? What I do know is that if a bunch of Brits come to my house on horseback and start threatening to take me to their country to be jailed over something that I shared online, like, we're going to have a problem. A big problem. There's more firearms in this town than people. Celebrate a whole holiday because of what happened with all of this with the UK. So that's pretty bold. And I don't know if they're just trying to scare people to stop them from sharing the information, but it's not working because it's still just, people are still just out there talking about it. Elon's out there just talking about it. It ended badly for you last time. I'm not really sure what you were thinking. Anyway, we pray for our people in the UK. That sucks. That sucks. But that's why we have 2A. And hopefully after all this is all said and done, you will get yourself something like a 2A. That's a bad deal.
Yep. And I think that Brits should be able to have their Second Amendment, or have a Second Amendment in order to, and a First Amendment. Your First Amendment, the right to speak. Your Second Amendment, the right to protect your right to speak. You know? Yep. But, Tony, you got to wait a minute, though. So if I'm not mistaken, Assange is an Australian citizen under the Crown, if I'm not mistaken. So, and I'm just responding to his comment here, guys. Is it legal? Julian Assange is a case in point. Well, the case in point is that you had every intelligence agency worldwide all working to get that man behind bars. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. So it's I think that you guys should basically, you guys need to have your own constitution, and that constitution should be followed, and is no different than us forcing our politicians to adhere to our constitution. All right. Let's see. Oh, I really don't even want to watch. She's a retard. I don't even want to watch her. Okay. When government co-ops the female population to fight for the revolution, what they're doing is dismantling the family structure. Here we go.
When
It's going to be the
I
last
started researching history and I discovered the history of China and Mao Zedong, I wondered, why was this never taught to me in my public school? The reason is because the Department of Education was created to indoctrinate you. It was created by people who want to promise you equality in order to bring in communism. For that reason, they do not want you to know what Mao Zedong did. They're using all of the tactics that he used to control us. Mao's regime was responsible for the death of 40 to 80 million people. They lost their lives from starvation, labor camps, execution, because they lived under a totalitarian regime until it ended them. Now, we're not at that point yet in the USA. Let's try and keep from getting there. Let me break some of them down for you. Mao gained control by pushing for collectivism. You could see that in the modern Democratic Party. Oh, you need to get this injection because everybody needs to do it to protect the safety of everybody. Oh, you need to stop driving your car so everybody can live on the planet. There's way more examples. Mao also used control and censorship. All of a sudden started hating Elon Musk when he bought X. But here's the part that's really interesting. Mao Zedong gained control by isolating women from their families. He used the feminist movement because he realized that he needed women to be a part of his revolution if he wanted it to work. You could see this clearly in the Democratic Party today. They want women to be emotional, women to support them for equality that we already have. But the equality that they want is they want all the elites to be equal and all of us to be equally poor. When a government co-ops the female population to fight for the revolution, what they're really doing is dismantling family structures. This is a key part of bringing communism to a population because when you lack individualism, when you lack a family, you need the government to be your mommy and daddy, which is what the whole liberal base wants right now. Now, I see communism as a real threat to the USA. And one more thing that I will say about communism is oftentimes political parties become cults of personality. So if you plan on voting for Kamala Harris, I would wonder why. And I would wonder why you would consider yourself an informed voter when you are advocating for and planning to vote for a woman who has not listed a single policy. She has not done one press interview. She has not been asked one question. You want to vote for her because you have been brainwashed by communists.
Yep. 100%. All right, guys. That's going to be it for today. Remember, our Creator, the Father who created the heavens and the earth, He loves you. His Son, Jesus Christ, loves you. And I love you. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.